Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Owlet recap show for Stage 3. I am your caster, Hodahori, and today we've got an interesting show and a great panel of guests to make sure that you understood what happened in Stage 3, what's going to happen in Stage 4, and there's going to be a great little mini interview here with Bort, admin extraordinaire, creator of the Owlet League, and all-around sort of nice guy. So I'm going to introduce you to all of the panelists here that are joining us today. So our first guest is fellow caster and member of MSXL, Commander Hui. How are you doing today, Commander Hui?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. So this is like your second time, I think, being a guest on the show. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Great. So our next guest is the Roadhog extraordinaire, the master of the hooks, the man who I saw get, I think it was close to 70% hook accuracy in one of the matches that I casted for him. It is Isaac, also known as Thick Daddy. How are you doing?
Doing all right. Glad to be here.
So like that Roadhog of yours is like, how long have you been have you been playing that since the beginning, or is it just one of those things you were just naturally good at?
I kind of picked it up after I was wondering how to get out of gold, and I was told that Roadhog's a really good character to get yourself out of gold because you don't have to rely on your teammates as much. So I really felt a natural thing for playing Hog, and it just stuck with me ever since.
Great. Well, you're very good at it, and I think a lot of people have issues with your hog here in the league, but welcome to the panel. And our third and not final guest from MSXL is Carboy. How are you doing, Carboy?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. You didn't get a lot of playtime in Stage 3. Are you going to be playing more and more now that your team is pretty much there at the top, or is this going to be one of those things in which you're going to be sort of rotating in and out for MSXL this stage also?
It's more of a rotation.
Okay.
I have a history with the team, right?
Uh-huh.
You know, we have a bunch of people on equal skill. Obviously, SR, my SR is lower in general, but
Hmm.
practicing with the team, I think, helps a lot. So I play whenever I get a chance. I practice a lot as well in our scrims. So if I feel confident, I'll just let Brian know. It's a mutual agreement.
Okay. Well, good to hear you, and good to see you here on the panel. And our representative from Deadlock Gang, for those who have been paying attention to the actual stream, I actually had Vekritas on there, but unfortunately he wasn't able to show up. But luckily, Fat Mike is able to join us here from the Deadlock Gang. So, Fat Mike, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Hodo. How are you doing?
I'm good. And Fat Mike, you as a member of the Deadlock Gang, I've actually casted many of your matches.
Mhm.
So like your Widow, I think, is very, very, very impressive. So like, if there was a character I think that you could continue playing and specialize in, what would that character be?
um, well, I have played a lot of Widow, but recently I feel like she's not that good anymore. Started playing some other heroes. McCree is a big one.
Mm.
So if I had to pick right now, I'd say McCree, but Widow was fun while she lasted.
Oh yeah. Well, it's always good to be a sniper. But thank you for joining us today and being part of the panel. And the last person, last panelist here to mention is Leo, fellow caster and my sort of stats guru for this stage. Leo, how are you doing today?
I am doing amazing, man. Thanks for having me once again. I love doing these kind of showcases.
Well, and I want to also spend a special shout out to Leo here. He was the one who helped me who helped volunteer and take care of a lot of the sort of stats going on in the background. He was very good with numbers, so I wanted to sort of thank him today, and then just wanted to give him also a chance here on the panel because there are a lot of sort of Furious Unicorn related questions. So I hope you're ready for those.
Oh, most definitely.
All
I've
right.
got a lot of things to say.
All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Also on in the channel too is Bort, but you'll be hearing more from him in our second segment. Well, we will go one-on-one with him and Bort. But if he's still in the channel, you want to say hello? Is he still there? Yep, no, he's gone.
Oh yeah, I'm
there,
here.
there he is.
I'm happy to finally be a part of our stage recap show here.
Oh yeah, so it's going to be great. So everybody out there at home, you'll get to know a little bit more of Bort in our second segment here, where we will go one on one and pick the brain of the creator of the league. So we'll go from there. But we're going to get started here with the division standings, and it's going to be sort of important to figure out who did what and where in the stage, and we go to the division standings for that. And the outlier here, of course, in the Strix division is Microsoft Excelsior, going 6-0. 2 games better than their competitors following behind them, banned by the way, Top Ramen and Los Muertos. Two teams are unable to get wins in Stage 3. It was unfortunately for Naptime and Lotus in the Strix division, but in the Snowy division, there was a logjam there up at the top. WSOL wins the Snowy Division Stage 3 on map differential, +6 to +4 over the Furious Unicorns, who had an amazing Stage 3. And we'll have a couple questions here for Leo with regards to that. Rinse and Shine and Oasis follow up 4-2, and Deadlock Gang, coming off of their high of Stage 2, actually fall back down to earth at 3-3, Fat Mike. So unfortunately, not the greatest of stages. It could be map based. And then we have 3 follow-up teams: Aftermath, who have no longer in the league, who have disbanded, Don't Envy Us, and Monkey X3 at 1-5. And my first question here is to the gang from MSXL at 6-0 with a +19 map differential. It seemed like you guys were basically rolling in Stage 3. What do you sort of chalk up that success to? And I'll let any one of you 3 sort of answer that question. You guys seem to roll, but only had to have one match though that sort of went the distance. But what was it that in Stage 3 that made it sort of seem like very easy for you guys to sort of go through?
I think that just we've kind of all played together like for a long time. We spend like a lot of time in scrims. I think like in fact leading up to Stage 3, we had like a scrim like every day.
Yeah, it was like
So-
9 or 10 days in a row.
Yeah, so we got like a lot of practice in. We're all like very comfortable in our roles. We kind of like know like more. Like I'm always very sure that Isaac's gonna get a hook and we're gonna be up 1 in a fight, or Delicious is gonna like block a shatter. Like I just know because I've like just played with them for so long.
So
Mhm.
I have a follow-up question, and this is what I've heard is the fact that you guys just play excessive amounts of Overwatch. I mean, like I hear the scrims every day that you just mentioned. I mean, is it one of those things that the contributing factor with the amount of you guys sort of practice? It's like the teamwork is like sort of off the scale at this point. Is that what you're basically saying? Is like because you play so much, you know what everybody's doing? Is there that sort of unspoken communication that you could sort of go through a map and just sort of know what other people are going to be doing right away?
You know what? Uh, that we, contrary to popular belief, we don't really play a lot of scrims. Like that 9 to 10 week stretch was the first time we went like hardcore scrim in a while. Before that, we played more Jackbox than Overwatch together. But anyway, I forget I said that. But yeah, anyway, it's just we kind of trust each other to do our job. Like if I play support, so I play like a Mercy
hmm
or Moira. When we're going in, I trust in our main tank call the right target, for the Discord to be on that target, for the Pharah to be shooting it, and like everyone needs to be doing the right thing at the right time.
hmm
And yeah, playing a lot together does help, but I think also uh, just being like we're all on good terms with each other. So like playing those games outside of Overwatch 2 really helped us.
Oh,
And so it's much easier for us to trust our teammates when we're in a match,
well,
and even if we're losing and coming back.
well, that camaraderie is very, very important. Like I had my team that I coached do the same thing. We would do not just Overwatch activities, and it seems like it's working out for you guys. At 6-0, your guys' overall record is outstanding. You're the #1 team in the league. Is there anything that you're going to be trying out in stage 4 that maybe teams should be watching out for? Because you're on the schedule a lot of playoff chasers and you can ruin people's day. But I didn't know if you were going to take the NYXL route of maybe sandbagging stage 4 or possibly taking it a little easier, or are you guys going to go straight full on into stage 4 and just not sort of let up and make sure that you sort of power through all the way to the finals? Is that what you guys are thinking of doing?
I mean, we're obviously gonna always try and win every game
Hmm.
that we can. But I think especially for this stage, we're gonna probably work in like more experimental compositions probably, and we're gonna probably do a lot more rotation than we did in this stage and the last one.
Okay.
So that's probably how we're probably gonna roll. But we're always gonna try to win all the games. We're never gonna take our foot off the pedal.
And that's what
Just to
I
throw in a
like.
little experimentation.
Yeah, I like to hear that. So, like, everybody's got to watch out. MSXL will not be pushovers in stage 4. So, if you have them on your schedule, be careful and be aware. So, let's change pace a little bit here. So, Fat Mike, Deadlock Gang goes 3-3 in stage 3. Did you guys have some issues with some of the newer maps that were going on in stage 3, or was this more of a sort of a transitional period for you guys for the Deadlock
Uh,
Gang?
yeah, I think there's a few factors that cause it. We lost one of our players, Love Gangster. He's a really good diva. The other thing is, I think me on Widow in like stage 1 and 2, I had a bit of a leg up
Hmm.
because I felt like I kind of grinded her early and maybe got pretty good at her pretty early. But I feel like everyone else in Owlet just all of a sudden became a master Widow. Like they're just all insane now. So I can't like do as well as I was doing. So I think those are the two reasons.
All right. So, but what should we be expecting from Deadlocking in stage 4? I know that with some of the sort of platinum, sorry, excuse me, diamond graduates that have been coming through, a little bit
Mm.
of incorporating new people into the team. Is that going to still? You guys have already locked up a playoff place. So, based on your performance in stage 1s and 2, you guys already have a place. You don't have to really worry about that. But at the same time, is there going to be other sort of experimenting or maybe some player rotations that we should be expecting from you guys in stage 4?
Uh, well, I feel like Deadlock's always been a pretty experimental team. We like run sim sometimes, and I think we run for more than any other team, I would bet. But I can't really. I don't think there's much more than that. It's kind of just how it is. I don't know. We're just gonna continue with what we've been doing and hope that it works.
All right. Good to hear. And then finally, my last question here is to the last panelist, Leo. Furious Unicorns had not so great of a stage 2, and you guys sort of roared back here with a 5-1 record. But that 5-1 record was based off of some wins that were 2-1, 3-2, 3-2, and 3-2. You won 4 matches by 1 point. Now, I always argue that map differential doesn't matter if you win the game. And in this particular case, Furious Unicorns won 4 out of 4 when it came to matches that went to the very end. Leo, tell me what was the difference in all of those matches, because it could have easily gone 0-4 and we could have been looking at Furious Unicorns with a 1-5 record instead of 5-1.
Yeah, basically in regards of like why we always have like close maps, it's like honestly just comes down like to coaching. Every time like when we would just be like down as a team, we would just like talk it out and have like either Cypher or Flap just like say like, hey guys, it's still not over. You need to prepare for the last match. And yeah, it's just like it helps having us as a team just like be actual like friends because we have each other's backs, and it's just like so nice and trustworthy to just like know that no matter what happens, like you're always gonna be like going strong with people like you actually genuinely like as like actual people. So actually doing well with your friends is just like such an awesome accomplishment, and like yeah, not much there else to say. It's just like it's easy to play Overwatch when everybody else is like on good terms.
All right, that sounds like the team sort of righted the ship. I remember you guys saying to me like in stage 2 that you guys were going to work on the King of the Hill and you guys were going to work out some stuff, and it looks like you got it right for stage 3. So for stage 4, are we expecting more of the same? Do you expect any sort of differences, maybe some changes coming out of the Furious Unicorns that people should be aware of?
In regards to changes, there are a big amounts of like roster changes. We do have 2 diamond graduates, and we did have we're gonna be adding 2 new people to the roster.
Mhm.
So hopefully that doesn't disrupt like our team chemistry in any like case. But yeah, I'm just gonna be I'm just gonna hope for the best and like just wish that we get just as good of a stage 4 as we did as a stage 3 because we have a rough schedule. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Yeah, we'll go into that there later in segment 3. But yeah, there are rough schedules all around for the teams that have not qualified yet for the playoffs. So we'll take a look here now at the overall standings and where does everybody lie. So when we're actually looking at the overall standings, Microsoft Excelsior's up at the top there with a 16-2 record and a plus 49 differential. They will lock up the top spot, I think, with 2 more wins and the number 1 seed. I think if they can get to 18-2, their map differential should take them over the top. It would require WSOL to go 4-2 and then make up 17 maps on Microsoft Excelsior. That's almost like an additional win, really, in the pocket for them. So the number 1 seed looking pretty strong to be Microsoft Excelsior's. Number 2 is WSOL, who had a rebound in stage 3. Didn't lock up a playoff spot because of their blip there in stage 2, but they are currently the number 2 seed, followed up by Banned by the Way and Deadlock Gang. And then you start to see the teams that are stuck there in the middle with records of 12, with wins of 9 through 12, and are going to be fighting for those final playoff spots. They're at the middle, so it's going to be very, very interesting. So, open question to anyone who's willing to answer: is there any team on here that you guys are seriously thinking, no, they shouldn't either be there at their current rank, or they are a little over where they think they should be and they might come down to earth more in stage 4? So anybody want to jump in answering that question?
Well, I guess I'll break the ice. Yeah. Hodo, as you said, I was diving into the stats after the third stage did conclude, and I did find some interesting stuff.
Mhm.
One of the teams that I've been seeing that's been on the downside is actually Click for Heads. Not to like talk bad about the team or anything. I actually haven't seen much of them since they are in the Strix division. We haven't actually played against them, but the stats do show that when they go against top teams, they tend to underperform. They're right now against the top 10 teams, like either playoff chasers or people who are already in the playoffs. They're 1-9. So basically, everything else they've done. I mean, my bad. 1-7.
1-7.
They're 1-7.
Okay.
Yeah, they're 1-7, and they just seem to struggle in like those kind of big matchups. But hey, I mean, like, if there's one game where stats just don't matter, it's Overwatch. Like, you could probably be 10-0 and then next game just like lose because it's Overwatch.
Mhm.
So stats don't matter at the end of the day. But yeah, it's one of the things. Like, Click for Heads actually have not an easy schedule here on stage 4, which is something that's just going to be happening for a lot of the teams who are actually trying to go for the playoffs.
Commander Hui, how about you? Like, you guys are sitting up top at the top of the mountain. Like, is there anybody down there in 2 through 16 that give you guys a little bit of a fright? Maybe trying to challenge for the top, or is there anybody down there that you think, no, we can sort of handle it, and that it's going to be okay?
I'm always of the belief that as long as we play well, we can beat anybody on any day. But it all relies on us playing well.
Mhm.
So I think against like Band by the Way, like we kind of drew on the last map of stage 2. I remember like that, and that was like we kind of got like we didn't play as well in that. And in this stage, Los Muertos, they went to 5 maps against us. I wasn't there for that, so I'm not really too familiar with that one
Mhm.
for that match. But maybe they can give us like a fight. So, but we'll see.
All right. So, like, Fat Mike, Deadlock Gang is locked up a playoff spot into the playoffs. There, you guys are sitting in 4th place. Uh, do you see yourselves maybe climbing up to 2nd and maybe challenging WSOL there for the 2nd seed overall? Or do you think that because your game was tight with them, you 4-0'd them here in stage 3, which was very impressive, but just had a blip against some other teams? But do you think that you maybe belong up there in the second rank over them right now?
Well, I think Weed Stompon Land is a team that we could definitely beat. I don't think we've lost to them yet, at least in regular games. But I think there are other teams, specifically like Los Muertos. I know they have just like a ton of raw talent. And of course MSXL that I think just kind of keep us where we belong, which is around 4 right now. But maybe we'll get better.
Look at him being so nice. So, I'm willing to go out on a limb right there. So, but there we go. So all of our reps here are sort of chiming in on their overall ranking. So let's take a look at all of the new maps and how they broke down. So there were 3 new maps here added into Stage 3. It was Blizzard World, Horizon, Lunar Colony, and Route 66. And you can see Blizzard World, it seemed like gave people the most problems, but there were 3 teams who were undefeated on Blizzard World. If you Furious Unicorns, Leo, be proud of your team there on Blizzard World, going 3-0. Oasis Esports and Click for Heads, surprisingly, go 3-0 on the. There were 6 teams though tied at 2-1. Banned by the way, AFT, MSXL, Top Ramen, Los Muertos, and Rinse and Shine. Horizon though gave everybody a bit of fits. So there were 9 teams stuck at 2-1. It seemed like everybody seemed to sort of rotate wins and losses on that map, and it was Microsoft Excelsior going 3-0 on Horizon, being perfect on that map. It was a little tricky with the changes, but it seemed like MSXL were the class of Horizon Lunar Colony there and was able to take down any and all challengers that came through. And then Route 66, its first appearance here in the Owlet League, and it was Top Ramen, MSXL, and WSOL who were perfect on those maps, and then 5 teams at 2-1. So now I'm going to ask you guys, out of the 3 maps here, which map was the worst to play on? And I know this can be a varying amount of questions. I doubt maybe Route 66 might be that answer, but uh, so Thick Daddy, Isaac, what did you have issues with? Was it Blizzard World? It didn't seem like you had issues on Horizon on 66, but what was the map that you did not like the most out of the new maps?
Definitely Blizzard World. We had a problem on that map in scrims for the longest time. I don't know. I'm not actually sure why we were so bad at that particular map, but yeah, in scrims and everything, we just couldn't figure it out for the longest time. And then I think we figured out, because teams like to run goats comp on Blizzard World a lot on attack, and we were having trouble shutting that down. And I think that was a big part of the problem. And then I also started playing Diva when we would run goats on attack there, so that also helped because you can eat all the spam damage when you're running past the other team. So I think those 2 things, like, we figured out how to defend goats a lot better. And we got Huey back, which was huge because Junkrat is so essential when you're trying to defend against goats. And I think that's why we struggled a lot.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Blizzard World's entry point is a little odd, I think, for a lot of teams, just because of the way that it's sort of set up. It's a weird hybrid map for a lot of people, and then nobody's really perfected the defense points yet. So, Fat Mike, what did you think? Out of these 3, what was your least favorite?
I'm going to have to agree. Blizzard World was really rough for us. I think we lost the most on that one, I want to say. Yeah, it was, I think it's a big part of it is like the map changes so drastically from point to point, and it's kind of hard to like take a position and sit there for a while and kind of hold it. So that might be it. I don't know, but I don't like Blizzard World.
All right, and Leo, your team went 3-0. Are you going to also say that Blizzard World was by far your least favorite map here?
Oh heck no, we didn't let a single point get captured on Blizzard World. We dominated Blizzard World. But yeah, in actuality, my team actually did struggle with Route 66, but me personally, I just don't like playing in Horizon. Horizon is such an awkward map. Like, the whole structure is just like point A is just like it's a goat's fiesta, and then the last point is like, okay, try to just like magically kill people on the high ground, and if you can be on the point, then congratulations, you win. it's just such a weird point. Route 66 is like also one of those points that like is really weird because like you could probably run dive like in probably the first 2 points, but then for point C is like kind of like awkward and like structured.
Mm-hmm.
So probably Death Ball is like really good there, but yeah, Blizzard World I totally understand you guys. That's just like so different, like point A to point B to point C. But yeah, thankfully we did not have to play a lot of point B or C because we would just full hold the other team.
Well, there you go. That's one way to do it. you don't have to play the rest of the map. If you
Yeah,
can't get
just
past
full hold the other team forehead.
if you can't get past the other map. Well, Commander Hui and Carboy, any thoughts on these maps? We heard from Isaac a second ago. But how about you guys? I mean, like, do you concur with your teammates' sort of description of what Blizzard World is, or is there like a personal hatred for Horizon or 66 that you guys would like to sort of express?
Actually, I kind of like Horizon Lunar Colony, like just some kind of, because teams like to run goats on there, and then when I play Junkrat, I get ult charge really quickly, so I can get tires like really quickly. So I just like it for that. Like I know yesterday we played in OTC finals, and I got my tire in like 20 seconds of in-game time, so that was pretty fun. But yeah, I don't like Blizzard World. It's like kind of an awkward map, but I mean the concept of it is like really cool, but it's just kind of the map design just isn't the greatest. It's kind of just weird. It's awkward, I guess I'll say.
Yeah. How about you, Carboy? It's like, do you agree? I mean, like, is it just one of those? You're a support, so it's like it's going to be.
I don't really like Horizon Lunar Colony once you get past the first point, especially on defense, because trying to support the team with so much verticality, and it's such a large open area. I always feel like I'm in danger there. If it's on the first point, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's full hold, and then we don't full hold, and then my life becomes a living hell.
Oh, well,
But, you know.
Yeah. Well, that is the life of a support, right? I mean, like you're going to be gunned down at any time, and that second point is so big, and there's so many places where somebody can sort of hide and snipe you, or even just sort of jump at you. It makes divers even easy to sort of get to you no matter where you are. So I can completely understand why Horizon would be one of your favorites. So here's so everybody at home, these were the breakdowns of the new maps here for Stage 3. You're not going to have to worry about, I think, Blizzard World anymore, and Route 66 in the next stage when we actually go to that, and we'll point out the maps that will be new in Stage 4 here in Segment 3. But now we're going to actually do what we did in the last recap show. So we have 3 matches that our teams, that our sort of admin team decided were 3 good matches that maybe people missed and didn't get to see. So these are great sort of highlight videos of 3 matches. The first is the Aftermath and WSOL rematch. So this was a rematch of a game in Stage 2 where Aftermath defeated WSOL. I think it was 3-1. WSOL was able to sort of play them again, and it's sort of big because in the sense that Aftermath now has disbanded, this was their last meeting to the 2, so there won't be a rubber match. But enjoy the highlights here of AFT versus WSOL.
And there it is, onto the supports. He's going to take out 1, 2, looking for the Mercy. He will find that kill. That's it for Weed Stomp on land. They have done what they need to do there. Maybe fade out that Transcendence. There goes the Dragon Blade from right there. It's usually a death sentence to more than one member on your team, but it's only going to find Death Guru as Vibe and Kiwi decide to go ahead and go on their own tear here off onto the side. Kill feed as I know it, and there it is. That's what everyone's been waiting for. She's going to be able to run away. Nice movement there from Shelly, but it's not going to be enough as Ryderis and Salty Dog come in from behind, taking out the entire support line. And now it's a little bit of a trouble scene for Aftermath as Weed Stomp on land begins to take control of the point. So now it's up to Aftermath to get a hold of a lifetime here if they want to start today's matchup on top. Looks like they're off to a good start. Self-destruct from Death Guru will find 2! Audit to Ka and the new Elite. Salty Dog falling to the primal rage of ADD as new Elite tries to get something with his own self-destruct. He will find Kiwi, but it's a little bit too little. Too late, but the C9 from Weed Stomp on land.
Oh god, and already an Earth Shatter and 2 charge kills. That'll do it for you, ADD. with some high energy tank play.
Graviton coming out from New Elite. Nothing to pair it with, but the damage is still there. Big anti into the Graviton as Salty Dog and the rest of the team take a piece of the pie for themselves. Off of the push, it slapped against the shield, kept them all put up, but they were able to keep themselves alive throughout. Throwing out a Graviton of their own. There's the Dragons from the opposite side, but Shelly being thrown out the Coalescence into that meld of people there. And right there it is. The Dragon Blade comes back out, looking for the Zenyatta in the backline. He will find the Zenyatta. Now he's looking for Vic 7. Vic 7 going to follow as well. Graviton to help him out with all those targets. But he's not going to find any more with the Dragon Blade. But the Dragon Blade isn't how he kills most of his victims. It's with those shurikens. Dragon Blade on top. The Transcendence coming out to make sure that no damage can get through. EMP so they can get their own damage if they want to. Hack onto the Genji, going to make him fall. There's a self-destruct taking Salty Dog out of the fight as Aftermath looks to make this a 4v2. The kills are insane as everybody on the team decides to grab themselves a piece of the damage here. Salty Dog, once again, not something you want to meet in the street, as since it takes the monkey out of the fight, ADD will fall. Shatter ready. Salty Dog willing. Looking for a couple of victims, and he finds a Death Blossoming Reaper to target there. Late Shatter. Nano on to Salty, and that extra 300 HP so juicy for this kind of situation as he tears through 1, 2, 3. Looking for Shelly Bean on the Mercy. He'll find her. Sensei's gonna help him out. And that's the reason, ladies and gentlemen, that Ana is back in the meta. There it is. Vive has been holding that Transcendence for the entire game. Wonderful job making sure that Ryderis can't get anything with that Dragon Blade, but Death Guru's gonna grab everything with that self-destruct. Sensei taking the kill on the Luth Ninja and then popping out a barrage of his own, trying to find a couple of kills, but Vive will find him in the skies as ADD's Primal Rage doing wonders on the backside of Death Guru's self-destruct, taking Salty Dog out. Tesla Cannon took a Ryderis to death. We'd stomp on land with a reverse sweep to take Oasis and the day.
All right. For our next match, we're going to be featuring Furious Unicorns and the Deadlock Gang. So this was a great 5-game match between the Unicorns and Deadlock Gang, which ended up going to the Unicorns here. So stay tuned here for this video.
Right now, Danger Man popping the Winston ult, trying to stir everything up, and Gastro with the Fire Barrage taking out 2, and Blue with the High Noon able to take out 1, but it looks like the kills are in the vast majority of Deadlock Gang here. Beeflard trying to dive in to take him out, but is able to successfully take out Technique. That's a huge pick, as a lot of burst damage is down for the Red team, but Red team popping back over as Rectress able to take out the mech on Beeflard, but Deep Inside going huge, getting 3 picks. Barrage coming out from Deep Inside, really trying to capitalize on all this commotion here. It's going to come out from Danger Man, that is huge, getting a ton of members from the side of Furious Unicorns. Danger Man just charging straight onto the point, just negating that entire frontline defense that Furious Unicorns had. And Demon Side able to tackle the opposing Hanzo, but it's only a matter of time as Danger Man is able to get the opposing Ryan. But Deep Inside popping off on this Hanzo, taking out both supports on the side of Deadlock Gang. So there's not a whole lot of healing, actually no healing at all. To see a tire coming out from Blue, and the Shatter takes out the tire. That's a first. I have never seen that before. Deep Inside could be in a lot of business, as we do have that Dragon Strike available. We're going to see both dragons collide onto the point here and really just equalize everything, but Shatter coming out from Beeflard, making it 2, and with that stick onto the red team, that is going to be a very fast push for Furious Unicorns. Full force of the respawns just taking their work here, but Deep Inside going huge with the Pharaoh Barrage, taking out 2 people and the Diva Mech. Blue's gonna get on that tire, trying to make things huge, and he does, taking out 3 people onto the side of Deadlock Gang. What a tire. If you look at the top here, more than 50% on the clock already for Furious Unicorns, and with the barrage coming out from the Furious Unicorns, we're seeing 2 come out, but Fat Mike as well taking out 2. So who knows how this could go out now. But with that Diva Bomb, this could be really... Oh! Huge bomb coming out from Lexicon, just wiping out.
And our final match of the featured sort of matches that we will be seeing will be Top Ramen versus Banned by the Way. Top Ramen needed this match in order for them to sort of stay in the hunt for the playoffs, and did they get a win in spades in this match?
Looks like they will have a dive onto, it looks like the Zenyatta, and they will take out Chowboy. Just, my kids down, so they are all out of heals there. Foxer and Mailman are going to, Lokai is down, but Fensito down, Mr. Crit's down, Mailman is rezzed. And that is it.
Oh, that is.
We have a win. A ban, by the way. Fordo will fall to Lokai on the Widowmaker. It looks like. Oh, but there is the Shatter, which will take down 2. Pandu takes down Technician though, but Zoe is res. Zoe takes down Lokai. Foxer takes down Pandu and Mr. Crit. So it's just a brawl on the point at the moment as well, with Technician battling out between Vesper. See who falls. It's 4 from and by the way, versus 1 Diva, now a baby Diva, and that is it. It's going to be, the point will be taken by Band by the way.
Ooh.
Much damage as they can. Lokai finally goes down along with Technician, but Fenzito with the Shatter. Oh my gosh! They're just putting everything into this fight, and by George, it's going to win. It's going to work.
13 and wasting
Shatter,
the old
but not this.
Foxer down.
Oh, Foxer down. Illuminate down.
May, go, May. Aww.
Go, May, go. Oh, and that is. Oh my goodness. 8.
Round eight.
I am going to.
Oh.
Look at that bomb. Look at that bomb from Foxer. That might have just saved.
That is
Band
absolutely
there.
saving
That's
this match.
4 kill. Turtle Shiva will res Grumpy 0.
Ooh.
There we go.
Big hammer.
Huge hammer. And there's the Transcendence
Again.
From Nilsey again. Oh, Foxer gets taken down by Mr. Crit. Eternal Shiva down as well to Mr. Pandu takes down Technician.
And I believe that is it. There we
And
go.
Noodle Boys will rank supreme in this matchup, taking down 3-1.
Oh my gosh. Oof.
I am exhausted. I don't know about you, but I'm going to.
Oh my back.
All right, folks, those were your 3 featured matches here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Maybe post in the chat with regards to what match you think should have been featured in the top 3, or if you agree with me, then say, hey, give me a thumbs up and a pog champ there for the matches that were featured today. When we come back, oh, and quick shout out to Direboyd, who was the editor for a lot of these sort of spotlight matches. If it wasn't for him, a lot of us casters wouldn't know what we would be doing right now, and it would be problematic. He's been so helpful with regards to these recap shows, so want to give him a shout out. Also, make sure he gets the credit that is due to him. Great work with regards to that. But when we come back here in the next minute, it will be Hodo and Bort one-on-one interview time with the founder of Owlet. So go ahead and stay tuned. We will be right back. So when we come back, it will be the interview, and I used an image of the Simpsons Bort as your image. So that will be what was up, and when we go back and forth, that will be what the image of you. So that is all right. I figured that's what you were referencing. All right, folks, we are back. You got to hear a little bit of the production there, me talking to Bort here in the background. But let's introduce our Owlet sort of idea man, founder, and admin, Bort. How are you doing today, Bort?
Oh, I'm doing great, Hodo. I'm glad to finally be a part of one of our stage recap shows.
Yeah, so you unfortunately weren't able to make the first one because of real life. So we figured, at least I did, and everybody agreed, that should give you the time that you deserve. A one-on-one interview here where I ask you, hard-hitting questions
Right.
with regards to Owlet and the league. So let's start off with maybe a little bit of background. So how did you get started in Overwatch itself? So like everybody has different stories. My friend works for Blizzard, so I got in on the alpha, and I've been playing Overwatch ever since. Some people discovered it online organically. Some people were, FPS players. How did you get started with the whole Overwatch thing?
Yeah, sure. So I think what beta came out late 2015-ish, around then. And Direboyd, who's actually my real life friend back from grade school, had me. I was starting to think about building a PC. switching over from the Xbox, and he brought me over. He's like, you gotta check this game out, and he had beta because he also knows some people at Blizzard. And at the time, I think the hero pool was like 8,
Yeah.
but it didn't matter. It was so much fun, and it really kind of motivated me to build my computer and get Overwatch for this so I could play with my friends. And I went home and I applied for the open beta, I think, at that point, but I think it was too late and the invitations went out and it was only a few months before release. So they obviously I didn't get it. I bought it on release, and it's just been a whirlwind since. Lots of hours have gone into it.
So have you mainly like sort of played with your friends? So this was more like a organic thing since Dire Boyd was playing. You started playing. Was that like the real?
Yeah, it actually. I mean, Dire Boyd got me into it, but I think I definitely took it to a level he didn't expect with my affection for the game. I definitely play a little more seriously than he does. He's a little bit more relaxed and a little bit more hardcore. But him, me, and Telrek, we used to play all the time. Not so much anymore with running the tournament and real life things, but it was definitely a bonding way for the three of us.
Yeah. So like speaking of which, what tournament experience did you have before this? Because I think you guys played or coached in Scrub Cup beforehand. Is that
Correct?
That right? Yeah.
Scrub Cup was my first, I guess, competitive video game tournament. For any game, any platform, and I coached the team Rinse and Shine.
Okay.
And we ended up going to the finals against I guess the proto MSXL that you have today. Unfortunately, we lost in the reverse sweep. I think you casted it too, and that's
did.
how we became acquainted. So did that. I had a ton of fun with it. And Telrek was my assistant, and Dire Boyd helped us out with all of the VOD. He filmed all of our VODs, and he helped us edit those so we could review them efficiently. So that was just a ton of another thing that we could just all three of us could just do together.
Well, so like, what basically made you guys? Was it like that tournament experience that made you think, "Hey, I could do this better"? And like with you and Telrek and Dire Boys, like, "Hey, we could start a league and actually do this better than what we were doing in the Scrub Cup." So, what was like the motivation coming off of the Scrub Cup win, or the Scrub Cup experience?
The almost win,
almost win, the experience, shall I
Right.
say, to make you guys start Owlet?
Right. So obviously, Scrub Cup was a blast. I think they do a great job with their tournaments. Definitely something everyone in our server should check out once they launch their next tournament, just because it is a really fun and educational way to continue on with competitive Overwatch. But after that, we I don't want to say gripe, but like the one thing, like I felt kind of empty, after the season was over, because put so much time in, and you really bonded with the team, and just scheduling the scrims and the matches was just a huge part of my weeks, and it was so much fun. I started thinking about what if we did something more season based, something more like the Overwatch League, and I floated it to Dire Boyd and Telrek. They were on board, so I figured, I didn't know where to start yet, getting teams and coaches. So I went to some Scrub Cup teams, and that's why you see a lot of familiar faces, I'm sure, from Scrub Cup 5. Because I went to not to discredit anybody, but I think there were almost 50 teams on the North American. So I reached out to all the playoff teams to see if they wanted to be a part of this, and I think I don't want to say most, but probably a large portion of them did come on with us in one way or another. So I was able to get that, and then I was really thinking that this could be something. We could get a solid 8 teams, and we could get this whole, because that was the other thing I really like, being able to have all the matches casted. I think that it's a really good way to build community, build storylines, and really get everyone involved, not just in their games, but in other matches that are happening, and what those mean in terms of the standings. And I really was building this whole tournament to what I would have liked to play in or coach in, just make it really big and expressive and almost like a bubble just for us. I know people watching outside might not, know these teams, but I'm sure it's a blast for me, and I'm sure it's a lot of fun for everyone to be able to just flip on a Twitch and watch watch their friends play in a match that could have playoff implications or some crazy comps. Um, so that's kind of where I thought if we just made a mini owl, because I hadn't seen that anywhere else, and I really thought that uh, starting that would be a ton of fun to run and a ton of fun to play and hopefully cast in for you. But yeah, that's really where it all came from.
All right. Well, I mean, like you were also gone. You came up with the idea, started to structure everything, and then you had to leave before we were able to do like the first stage
Right.
recap. And you left a great group of admins in charge. Yeah, Dire Boyd and Talrek, Necra, everybody who's been helping out with the league. Are you like really happy what has become of Owlet since you've come back? I mean, like in that time frame, there was that. Uh, that article that Katrina wrote about the growth of Owlet and a place for, sort of like non-professional people can sort of
hmm
get that sort of esports professional experience. And like, are you just surprised at how well the league has been, and the reputation of the league it is with everybody in the Overwatch community?
Oh no, absolutely. I'm blown away. Because like I said, we were really just planning on 8 teams with rosters of 10. So we were planning on just under 100 players.
Mhm.
Um, and then we got some more interest after kind of our first wave of ads and kind of marketing ourselves. So we started to tinker with the idea of doing 12 teams, and it kept picking up. And then we were at 16 teams where we are today. We probably could, with the amount of interest, we probably could have run more teams, but we didn't want to stretch ourselves out too much.
Mhm.
So just even in the beginning, I was blown away. I think, like I said, we were planning on having just under 80 signups, probably about 100 or about 80, and then probably just about 100 with casters and officials and everything else we would need. I think as of yesterday, we just crossed 600 in the Discord.
600.
600 for our
Okay.
first season, which I'm really impressed. Like I'm blown away. Um, and I think that while I was gone, the admin team did a great job running it. Everyone's really passionate and they have really good ideas. Sometimes there's a lot of back and forth because everyone is really behind their ideas. So it's definitely a group effort, and I think that we're able to put out hopefully a quality product for everyone to enjoy. Because even the littlest decisions, have a lot of deliberation behind them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm absolutely blown away, and I think that the community that's starting and kind of um, just watching people tune in and comment and chat on other people's matches is really, it's fun for me to watch the tournament grow.
Well, that seeing growth is probably one of the best things to see. So what do you have in mind for maybe like the future of Owlet? So we're heading into stage 4. The playoffs are going to be upon us soon, and then that'll be the end of Owlet season 1. What do you have any grand plans for maybe the future of what Owlet could be? Maybe season
Right.
2, or is it just too far ahead and you don't have an idea, or we're just not there yet?
Definitely have some information I can give out. Some stuff is still we're tinkering with, so we don't want to put out the wrong information. But we definitely are looking towards the future. We've added a few more admins, and we have some more coming in after the season to kind of help us get ready. Because the plan is that we are going to start a tournament for our diamond players to graduate to, which was really the whole point of this first iteration, was for people to grow out of this tournament and into our next tournament. We only ran one tournament this season because we just didn't think logistically we could handle two. But this was always kind of the path that we were going to take with this, was to open this higher level tournament for our players to graduate to. And then really what I would like to see, I would like to see Owlet kind of become a place where players can, who really want to take this game seriously can come and learn, and then, hopefully transition into serious players in the tier 3, tier 2, or, hopefully for anyone and us included, tier 1.
Yeah.
I think that would be really awesome. And not even just players, for casters that, want to get into the industry, they can come here and they can, learn how to stream if they don't, learn how to cast if they don't know, and really get their feet wet with, consistent match coverage and familiar match coverage. So you're not going in blind. By now, I'm sure a lot of the casters know the teams, they know who plays what. And they kind of know those storylines. So it's really been awesome for me to see not just the players grow, but the casters, the admin team, everyone. So I really would like to see this kind of become an academy of sorts, for people, players and casters and coaches alike, to just come through, hopefully on the way to bigger things.
No, yeah. I mean, I do this as a hobby, but I love like sort of working with new casters who are trying to sort of figure out their voice and try to figure out on whether or not they want to do. So it's really really great what you guys have set up here. It's been absolutely fantastic. I know I've had a blast, and
Oh, I'm
I've gotten
glad.
to, yeah, and I'm doing things that I've never done before, like hosting a recap show or like doing interviews like this. It's really neat to sort of get in depth and do sort of different parts of like sort of the casting community and getting your feet wet and doing all this stuff in an environment where it's supposed to be where you're supposed to learn. So I mean, like a lot of
Right.
not there are not a lot of places where you can actually learn how to do play by play or how to do color commentary. There's just not a lot of places that will sort of afford that or actually have the luxury, because a lot of tournaments just want people who are experienced, who know how to
Exactly.
cast. So, the you guys provide a great outlet for that, and I myself am grateful, and I think the casters out there are also grateful for regards to that. But there's also an announcement I think you also wanted to make too about something special happening in October for
Correct.
Outlet.
I know that it's been confirmed through questions and brief asides, but tonight we are going to introduce and announce our All-Star game.
Hmm.
It's going to be the first weekend in October after our playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be voting. You can get your favorite players from both divisions on their teams. The Diamond graduates will be eligible, so we'll really get to see, how good players in this tournament have become, and what they can do when we put them all in one place at one time. Uh, yeah, and we're also going to be holding some other tournaments. I'm sure we haven't really decided, but like I'm sure there's going to be some, maybe some Lucio ball, maybe some on a paintball. We're definitely going to have other things to get the community involved in, and hopefully make a really fun weekend out of it.
All right. And it says here that the voting will begin September 8th. So that is in 2 weeks. Is that right? All
Correct.
right.
We wanted to wait until the rosters have locked,
Hmm.
so all the information is accurate when people go in to vote.
Well, will we be also voting for casters for the game too, or will the admins actually decide what's
Correct.
going to
I
happen?
think how we're going to do the game is we're going to break it up.
Hmm.
We haven't decided, how many cast or how many maps each casting duo is going to do,
Hmm.
but we are going to feature more than two casters in the actual All Star game, just so we can, just like the All Star game, we can feature as much talent as possible.
Oh, great! And will there be a skills challenge?
We are developing a few extra things to do on the weekend, and the logistics, but there will be, like I said, multiple opportunities for players to get involved, whether they made the All Star team or not.
Oh, fantastic! I love to hear that. So, the because this was also All Star Weekend for Owl, just people have All Star fever at the moment because it was very very fun to see all of their uh, sort of members basically do mystery heroes in a sense. So you get to
Right.
see the people sort of play characters that they weren't used to. Maybe we'll have a casters game. Maybe casters versus admins. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just throwing it out there.
It's something we've been so concerned getting stage 4 in the playoffs up and running that we haven't been able to devote as much time to really fleshing out the All Star game, but that's definitely on the horizon, and I'm sure we'll have a bunch of exciting announcements about what exactly is going to be happening.
Mr. Crit saying maybe casters versus refs. Well, then I guess they're going to throw out a whole bunch of options for us
Right.
there. Absolutely. So maybe we get to vote on it. Who knows? But this is
Sure.
sort of awesome for the community to sort of just sort of participate in sort of a fun activity that everybody can sort of join in and everybody can cast to, and it'll be just sort of really great. So last question as I transition: will the Diamond graduates who are no longer be able to play in Owl, will they also be allowed to sort of vote and play in the All-Star game? So like sort of as a mini comeback.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For the voting, any member of the Discord is eligible. So even if they just stopped in to kind of watch watch how things develop, you're just as eligible to vote. Everyone only gets one. You pick 10 players and a coach, and then that'll be how the teams are decided. But yeah, we want as much participation as possible. So we're trying to open it up, especially to the Diamond grads, so we can really get everyone in and have a good time.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. That was amazing.
Thank you for having me, and thank you, Hodo, for hosting this and all the work you do for Owlet.
Oh no, I'm
And
really
no,
happy.
really, it's you put in a ton of work, and it definitely shows in the product. I thank you to everyone who tunes in and plays too. It's been like I said, a real honor to watch this grow. And if you don't mind me just plugging one thing, I know a lot of people have seen me posting this and having casters announce this, but the feedback forums, it's really, really important to me that everyone fills it out, or as many people as possible, because that's how we're going to grow. That's how we're going to get better. I want to hear everyone's ideas, whether you've said no words in the Discord, no words to me, whatever. If you've participated, or even as an outsider, I think it's really important for us to make changes based on your feedback. So I'm really interested, and I'm really pushing for you guys to fill those out. We also we're giving out 3 Blizz credit gift cards for $5 to 3 random feedback fillers, so as a little incentive.
Oh, I didn't know that. So make sure you get your feedback forms back, folks. There's something in it for you for those who submit their feedback forms. But yeah, Bort, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope everybody got a chance to sort of get a little insight into the man that is Bort, the man, the myth, the legend. So as we transition from our founder and admin, we want to do a special congratulations to the Diamond graduates, who I did bring up whether or not they'll be able to play in the All-Star game. They can. I wanted to send a special shout out to those who will no longer be with us in Stage 4, but have matriculated on to bigger and better things. So the Diamond graduates will be ineligible for Stage 4, but forever in our hearts as we list them off here before we go into break and start our third segment. So here you go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and I hope you enjoyed that interview with Bort. I don't get to do very many one-on-one interviews in my casting duties and stuff like that, so that was a treat for me too. So I hope you got to know our founder and admin, Bort. He's a very, very nice guy, and he is just so proud of everybody who participates in the league, and all the admins, all the refs, all the players. It's just seeing something that he's created grow up. It's just been pretty awesome. So, but now we're getting neck deep into the third segment of our show, which is us talking about stage 4. So we're going to be talking about what is new for stage 4, and we are going to start off with the new maps for stage 4, which are Hollywood and Rialto. Now, Rialto is not necessarily a new map. It was used as a tiebreaker in stage 2, which was a little unusual because it's not a King of the Hill map. But it will be going into the rotation for stage 4. As you see, Route 66 and Rialto will be the escort maps, and we will be starting on escort now in stage 4. We will go to Assault. HLC stays in there along with Temple of Anubis. Control has Lijiang Tower and Nepal as your choices, and Hybrid is Eichenwald and our new map Hollywood with a tiebreaker on Ilios. So I am going to throw it off to our panel. What do you think of the map pool, and especially the new maps that are in there? Commander Hui, I'm going to throw it to you first. What do you think of these maps here for stage 4?
I mean, I like them. I mean, I like Hollywood. Hollywood's it's a nice map. There's a lot of verticality, especially on the second point B kind of attack defense section. Rialto, we haven't really played we haven't played Rialto too much, so that's gonna be very interesting to see how we'll do on that and kind of how it goes, because it's still a relatively new map. So I think that'll be interesting to see. Overall, the maps aren't. I like him. Both maps and kind of stage 4 map pool. No really bad ones in there, I would say.
Oh, okay. So you're happy with the map pool. Thick Daddy, Isaac, how about you? Are you happy with the map pool and what you're seeing?
It's a lot better than last stage.
Any
Horizon
yeah.
Horizon and the other maps that they added in there were, honestly, I hate those maps. So Hollywood and Rialto's are pretty exciting. Rialto in particular for me, because the canal is there, and I like to hook people into it.
Yeah.
So that's always a fun time.
Enviro kills are definitely one that Rialto is
Yeah.
sort of famous for. So be careful for those hooks now, everyone out there, because he's gunning for you. He's going to throw you into the water. Fat Mike, how about you? Sightlines good on Hollywood and Rialto?
Yeah, they're pretty good, but really, I'd say this is probably my least favorite, honestly. I really like Horizon, but beyond that, the other maps are just, I don't know, for some reason, I just don't really like them as much. But we'll see how it goes.
All right. How about you, Leo?
Oh my god, okay. I really like Hollywood and I like Rialto, but I look at the assault maps for this stage and I'm weeping, dude. I hate Anubis and I hate Horizon, so but I mean, like, I like Control and the tiebreaker, because Nepal and Ilios are my favorite maps like in the whole game, so hopefully, considering our team, we're always going to be going game 5, and we're bad on Ilios, but we were bad on Oasis, so maybe we can just turn it around. But yeah, Rialto and Hollywood. I totally forgot about Hollywood. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I saw it today when I was looking at the stats, and I'm like, all right, no one has played Hollywood. So it's like we have to start practicing on that. But yeah, Hollywood's one of those maps that not many people dislike. It's just like a pretty decent map. I imagine like the elevators are frustrating, but that's about it.
Yeah, because they're not on set. They're not sort of like mentioned or thing. You sort of have to guess when they're going to go up and down. You sort of have to time it right. Carboy, from a supports perspective, are there any maps here that are going to give you any fits?
You know what? Horizon is still in, I think. So
yeah,
that's always a rough spot. To be honest, I really like the maps this time. I personally, I'm just very comfortable with them. Also, I just fucking sorry.
No, that's okay.
Sorry. I just really, really love Rialto. from a personal standpoint, because I put a lot of time into looking, just exploring that map because it was so beautiful, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have this beautiful scenery, and I was exploring it, and to a gameplay perspective, that just means I know where everything is. So I know where I can hide. I know what I can do, what I can't do, depending on the comp, like what the enemy can do, especially.
Yeah. So
So
there was a statistic that came out recently that overall Rialto had the lowest completion percentage of any
Yeah.
map in Overwatch. I think it was somewhere in the 45%.
Yeah, I think it was 45.
Yeah, it's 45%. So it's going to be a defender's paradise, from what I
It
understand.
is.
So it's going to be a little difficult for everybody. Sort of have to figure it out. So teams looking to complete Rialto, just keep that in mind. It is a very difficult map on the offense to do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I
it's
give a
just
tip for
like
that?
it's
Yeah.
basically
Oh,
like
sorry.
I could speak like a little bit about Rialto.
Yeah.
I think like it's just like such a extreme map. Either you have so much problems on point A, because that's what I've been noticing in like a lot of like gameplay of Rialto. Like people have difficulty capturing point A for some reason. And if you make it to point C is so open that the defenders don't have a way to cover themselves. So they're probably going to get snowballed. They're going to just not going to be, they're just going to get snowballed and get captured. So after you pass point A, you're cruising, right? You're going to have a higher advantage. I don't know. I want to see the stats of like after capturing point A. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like people have an easier time.
I think where it was that choke on C. If your attack stops though, and you hit point C,
yeah.
when you're entering that building, that's such a hard choke to break through. It's kind of like remember why they changed Icon Vaults?
Yeah, when they didn't have the little flank on the right side, true.
Yeah. But because if they couldn't, if the attackers couldn't get past get the payload far enough on the first push into the point, they'd get stuck because it's so easy to just camp the entry points.
Oh yeah.
And it's the same concept in Rialto, especially at the end there. Point A and point C, you're right. Those are the biggest problems.
Yeah.
there.
So
yeah.
lots to look forward to in stage 4. So, but everybody seems to be generally happy with the map pool, so I like that. So, an announcement for a new team that will be joining in replacement for Aftermath, who have unfortunately disbanded. They will be replaced by a team named Transcendent. So, just a little background on the team. They're a mid-table team, so they range from 1400 to 2500. They've been together for about 2 months, and were and their one player, Zenadine, was part of the winning team in the most recent Cal Return Pug. So that was what their coach is coming in. So an announcement for that. So welcome the members of Transcendent to Owlet for Stage 4. They will be replacing AFT, Aftermath, in the group stage there in Stage 4. And also, a new character will be joining in, and his name is Hammond. Or actually,
Cough, Wrecking Ball.
Crackpoff Wrecking Ball. Everybody's going to call him Hammond because it's easier to call him Hammond. So, opinions from everyone here. There are a couple people who play off tanks here that I would definitely want their opinions on with regards to Wrecking Ball. But can his addition into stage 4 be a game breaker with regards to the certain maps? Because there is a bug still active on Hammond right now. It is a bug that was demonstrated by Jane that said that anybody within a 10-foot radius of Wrecking Ball will acquire damage equal to that of the person that he lands on closest. So, for example, if Wrecking Ball lands on a character directly, it is 100 damage. But if you are on the opposing team and you are in that 10-foot radius, even though you are far away where the damage is supposed to fall off, if he gets one of your teammates for 100 damage, you also get hit for 100 damage. And that is not supposed to happen. And they fixed that in the PTR, but it is still currently live. So, for those who don't understand the ramifications of that, it's one of those things where you can team up Hammond with an Orisa, and you literally can get teams to basically get like 600 damage to happen to a team if you can get like a 6-man mini grab onto a team all right into like a little tiny spot, even though they've already sort of split up and your Hammond is late. So, but I want opinions from everyone here, starting with Isaac, Thick Daddy. What do you think of Hammond here as an off tank coming into stage 4?
I am not a fan. He, to me, it just feels like I'm feeding constantly and not really having a big impact. I haven't really played a lot of Hammond, but playing against him is pretty easy most of the time, to be honest. If your team focuses him properly, he honestly just feeds a ton of ult charge, and he's such a big, easy target. And like Roadhog's a big, easy target, but he has like killing power, right? He hooks someone into your team and can one-shot them. But Hammond does not have that. So it's gonna take I think it's gonna take a really skilled Hammond player to really abuse that bug properly. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him, and I don't plan on playing a lot of him. But maybe in the future, he might be more useful.
Leo, you're an off tank. Tell me what you think of Hammond.
Yeah, basically in regards to like the bug, I don't think it's gonna be too exposed here in this tournament because as like anybody who's playing Hammond, Hammond is a really hard character to play. Because not only do you need to be like mechanically suited to play the character, you also need to have like that game awareness of when to dive, when to fall back, when to be waiting, poking. So you could easily just as like that Thick Daddy said, you could easily feed with Hammond. It's one of the easiest heroes to feed, similar to Doomfist in that scenario. But yeah, Hammond is. I think like if any team learns how to play Hammond, they will have such a huge advantage because right now people don't know how to counter it except with just like either going like a Sombra or doing something that hard counters them. Like if a good Hammond starts playing in the tournament, they're gonna be so high because like what do we do against his hamster ball, right? Like there's literally a guy who just like flies 20 feet in the air and just like falls on our supports and we all die now. Great. Awesome. Balance. Cool, guys. But yeah, Hammond is so fun. I've been practicing him a lot and hopefully I get the chance to play him.
Fat Mike, how about you? What does Deadlock think of Hammond?
I'm pretty excited to see Hammond. I know one of the things that Deadlock hates playing against is goats. And I know my understanding is that Hammond is supposed to kind of counter goats a little bit, so that would be good for us to learn maybe. But honestly, he seems like I kind of agree with like the rest of people that like he's gonna be really hard to play well. And I think even if you do play him well, it's probably not going to be like the best use of your time learning him, and you might want to just learn another hero.
All right, Carboy, how is it healing Hammond? He's been said to be a feeder a little bit of the time. Does he like sort of discharge sort of too much sort of damage, or like does too much like gets too much damage, and it's just basically very difficult to sort of heal, or is it just one of those things that's player dependent?
I mean, to be honest, I feel if we're running a Hammond, that my focus on healing shouldn't be on the Hammond. I think that's how he's supposed to be played because he's supposed to get in, activate that shield, get his 1000 HP, and start plinking away with his can. So I feel like he's supposed to take a lot of damage and then heal him after the fight. Because he's supposed to disrupt the line so that it's so much easier for you to get in there and start dealing damage with the rest of your team. If the Hammond goes in alone, which a lot of them do, and a lot of them are a lot of the ones that I've seen so far are very imprecise. I don't know. Like, if he goes in alone, I would say get off Hammond. But if you work him with a team that can rush in and get those kills very early, he's a support's like wet dream.
Yeah, basically
you'll
I
get
think
out so fast.
Yeah, basically I think like Carboy is like similarly speaking like Hammond like Winston. Like if Winston dies, then it's like okay, he died, but we got 2 picks, so it's worth it, right? But yeah, like the thing that I'm scared for is like if you're an Ana player trying to hit a 20-mile-per-hour hamster ball flying through the whole map. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
Yeah.
how about Commander Hui? You're a DPS main, so you must see a Hammond and think with your Junkrat, I can just blow this guy up and it's not going to be a bother, right? Or is it the other way? Or does he disrupt you too much that maybe he gets and bothers you and you can't do as much damage as you want?
So I haven't really. We haven't gone up against Hammond as MSXL. I've gone up against a lot of Hammonds for my Open Division team,
Mm-hmm.
and I find that playing Junkrat is actually difficult to do it because he's mobile and he doesn't have it's not like a big target. Like he drops down, he gets in, he gets out quickly, and then because you don't get ult charge off his shields too, which is the annoying thing about that. So what I've found a lot is playing Reaper and Sombra. That's what I've kind of been doing for my Open Division team.
Okay.
To kind of counter him, so then he can't escape because then he gets in close and then he's going to get taken down quickly, or he's going to get hacked, so then he can't escape out. But also we like to do a disruption comp my Open Division team with the Hammond, where we run almost every kind of stun. We run Sombra, we run Doomfist, we run Hammond, we run Diva, we run think Mercy and Brigitte. Yeah, and then our goal is to just get in there. It's basically a dive, but it's a really far dive, and it really annoys other teams. I know that because they basically can't do much against it. Because they can't really play.
Well,
but,
yeah,
that's what we like to do.
That's a very, very tough combo to play. So those are your new things there for stage 4. So a little in depth there of Hammond, what our panel thinks of the character and the maps. So everybody seems very excited about the maps. Not so hot on Hammond, but we'll see if maybe there is a Hammond player that pops up from stage 4 that nobody knows about, that's been practicing in secret, and maybe surprises here in the Owlet League. So a little change of pace here, just as we're going a little closer. We are approaching the hour and 15-minute mark, actually hour and 20-minute mark. So just want to break down what is going on to the top 4 teams. So the top 4 teams listed on your left are Microsoft Excelsior and the Deadlock Gang, both of which have qualified already into the playoffs by placing first in their respective divisions after the end of stage 2. There are 2 teams who are literally on the cusp of qualifying already. That would be Weed Stomp on Land and Banned by the Way, whose stage record in the previous stage, 5-1 and 4-2 respectively, very, very good stage records, and probably a shoe-in for the playoffs. Banned by the Way and Weed Stomp on Land have to go 0-6, I think, to even put themselves into dangerous territory with regards to qualifying for the playoffs. But they're pretty good, in a pretty good position right now. So both teams, they're pretty good. And then there are the teams on the outside looking in. And these were 2 teams that I did not feature going into our contenders rundown. But it is Don't Envy Us and Vote Meme Time. They are your 11th and 12th place teams, respectively, with a 7-11 record, both tied at that record. But Don't Envy Us has a -4 and a -10 record. They have to play one of the hardest. Both of them have to play one of the hardest schedules in all of Owlet, with Don't Envy Us having to play WSOL, Unicorns, Top Ramen, and Rinse and Shine in their first 4 games. Whereas Vote Meme Time. Is it Vote Meme Today or is it Vote Meme Today? I think I might have the T incorrect.
I believe it's Vote Meme Today. Yeah,
it is. So let me fix that right here. So there we go. So fix on the fly. Vote Meme Today has to play C4H, Top Ramen, MSXL, WSOL, and Los Muertos. So they need a lot of help to get into the playoffs because their best possible record is 13-11, which is the current record of Banned by the Way. They would need a lot of help, and a lot of the teams in the middle between them and the top 4 have to lose a tremendous amount of games. So they're not out of it yet, but they are going to be very, very, very difficult a road to get into the playoffs, but who knows? But now we get to start our contenders rundown, and these are the teams placed between 10 and 5 in the Owlet League who definitely have shots at playoff aspirations. And we're going to start here with Rinse and Shine. And Leo here was so wonderful with regards to getting me statistics with regards to what was going on here in the game. So Rinse and Shine here are broken down. Here are your statistics. This was their roster as of stage 3, and their statistics on their maps leading into the end of stage 3. 61% on 2CP was by far their best map, and Hybrid at 55.6. The rest of their record, though, not so favorable. They are 1-6 against contenders who we think that they're going to need to defeat in the fourth stage in order to make a playoff spot. So I'm going to throw it out to you guys with a single yes or no. What are your odds? Give me a yes or no on whether or not Rinse and Shine gets a playoff spot. Remember, a playoff spot is 8th. So with the next 5 teams that we're going to be featuring, 2 of them will not make the playoffs. So Commander Hui, I'm going to start with you. What do you think? Rinse and Shine playoff place, yes or no?
This is going to sound
Yes.
a little mean, but I'm going to say no because
I say yes.
Well, I've casted a lot of the Snowy Division, but I've yet to cast Rinse and Shine game. But I think just their slow start, and also I think just Oasis Esports, and I mean, because I think they're gonna be able to hold out for the last playoff spot. They ended out pretty well. I casted that one, but I think Rinse and Shine, they started 0-4 to start out. I think that's gonna be the killer for them.
Yeah, there's hard start. Who was it that just said yes?
Me.
Yeah. Okay. So you.
Hi, Chef's back. Am I allowed to be in here or not?
Oh no, sorry, Momo.
Oh no.
So.
Alright, bye.
All right. So, unfortunately, that was a guest. Unfortunately, who got into the live.
You should probably lock this room.
Yeah, thank you, Momo. So, unfortunately, the room was not locked. A little bit of NA production there. Sorry, guys. So, Leo, you're another caster. Yes or no on Rinse and Shine?
Oh my god, this one I feel so bad, but I'm gonna go with no. But I actually have a good reason for why I don't think Rinse and Shine are gonna make it. 2 major things. Actually, they're going to go against really hard teams like We Stomp on Land and Oasis Esports are not like joke of a teams, and then they're playing us, and they haven't beaten us a single time, even though we've had 3-2 games. They've been close, but it's just we somehow just managed to beat them. And with them losing both Boba and Necra is just going to be something so crucial for them that I think it's just too much change and at a bad time. They're 10th, so they have to win more games than most of the other teams. So they're unfavored, so I'm going to go with a no.
Yeah, their schedule is ranked 5th amongst the 6 contenders here. So they have the sort of the second to easiest schedule, but unfortunately, yes, they had big losses due to Diamond graduation. So Rinse and Shine, they're looking pretty tough coming out of 10th place. They need to win at least 4 of those games and get some help there to make the final spot. So we'll go next into Los Muertos. And in the Strix division, now Los Muertos is a team that MSXL is very familiar with here, as they took them to 5 games there in stage 3. Their lineup roster, though, is going to be a little different. So their roster that I've picked up here was what was on their roster at the end of stage 3, but they've had some changes with regards to their lineup. So I know that the team that you probably played in stage 3 is not going to be the team in stage 4. But if you look at their percentages, statistical wise, they are under 50% on 2CP and King of the Hill. But their record against the teams that they're going to need to get wins for, Excelsior, Banned by the Way, and Top Ramen, are looking fairly respectable. So I want to ask somebody from MS Excelsior, like, do you think they have a realistic shot, considering they've played you guys really tough? They can play the rest of the league here really tough. If they were to keep their same roster. So what are your chances? What do you think they're going to get a playoff spot? Yes or no? I'm going to go to Isaac.
I think that they definitely have a good shot. They're a good team. They took us to our closest match of stage 2 or 3. And I think if they bring that same passion that they have against us, because they have our number, they can definitely make the playoffs, because they do have a lot of potential, and I think that they do have a good shot to make it here, especially with the schedule.
Yeah.
they have some of the lower teams in the standings on there. So if they can capitalize on those wins that they in theory should get, then I think they have a good shot for the playoffs.
Yeah. Carboy, how about you? Like your team, you and Thick Daddy have been very familiar with this team. Yeah, do you concur with your teammate with regards to Los Muertos?
Yeah. Generally, I agree. I think the what changes here is the environment of the game. There's a lot more riding on the line for these teams. So if they can outperform teams in a similar rank, those are probably their more important matches. If they can do that, I see them as an easy slot in for the playoffs.
All right. So we'll go next here to the next team on the roster is Oasis Esports. Now, Oasis has by far the hardest schedule out of everyone going to be in this quote chasers group of playoff places. They're currently in 8th place. They do have better than 50% records on 3 out of the 4 map types. They are underperforming on Escort with only a 42.1% completion percentage. But look at that matchup listing between Deadlock, Furious Unicorns, WSOL, and Rinse and Shine, and the team that nobody's played yet, Transcendent. They have basically 5 matches against really sort of tough opponents. And going into it, Oasis really do need wins because they don't want to get caught with regards to the people behind them. But their division is just not very friendly to them. So, Fat Mike, Deadlock Gang has played Oasis Esports, I think, and played them tough. So, what do you think of their chances making it into the playoffs?
Honestly, I think it's not too good. I know Panda Bear Kev was basically their Carpe. They, I think, relied a lot on him, and now that he's a Diamond graduate, I think it'll be a little bit tougher for them. And it's just really unlucky that they have such a hard schedule. It's going to be really hard to beat all of those teams, so I'd unfortunately give them a no.
Oh, how about you? Furious Unicorns have to play Oasis here. What are your chances against them, and do you think you can end their playoff dreams, Leo?
In regards to Oasis, since I basically already said that Rinse and Shine is not going to be making, I actually do think Oasis Esports is going to be making it. I can see them going 3-3. I would not be surprised because they are one of the few teams that actually beat We Stomp on Land. Not only did they beat them, they 4-0'd them, if my memory serves me correctly. So like nothing to scuff at. They did lose Panda Bear Kev, as was previously mentioned. But I just think they have really good tanks, and that's actually helping them a lot through most of the games they played so far. So I don't know. I just have a gut feeling they're just barely gonna squeeze in.
So all right. So our next team on the roster is one from the Strix division. And it is C4H, so clickforheads.exe. Going into the group here, look at those statistics. Their completion percentage, plus 50% on everything, and a King of the Hill percentage of 69.2. So they are really good at King of the Hill with percentage-wise. But, as mentioned here by Leo before, C4H has a problem against teams better than them in the standings. But they don't necessarily have that issue here, as they do have a cross-team matchup against Deadlock, because they will be playing one game in the Snowy Division, and they have to actually end up playing Deadlock Gang. But the rest of their roster, the rest of their teams are going to play VMT, Maptime, and Lotus are not above them in the standings, and they only have to worry about Banned by the Way and MSXL. So the MSXL boys, Commander Hui, I haven't gone to you in a bit. What do you think here about C4H's chances at the playoff? They currently are 7th, but they probably need to win at least 4 matches to sort of lock up a place. Do you think they can do it?
It's gonna be tough for them. I think for them, they very well could go 4-2. I see them as 4-2 or 3-3. I just see that, but it's also going to depend on Los Muertos. I think that because Los Muertos is going through a lot of changes, I think that they don't make it. So I think Click Foreheads will, and they'll go because they'll also get like I mean, not to be mean to the other teams, but they get a very forgiving early schedule. But I think that Click Foreheads, they will make it into the playoffs.
How about you, Carboy? Do you concur with your teammate about click 4 heads? You're in the
Yeah,
Strix division, so.
yeah, I know. I agree with him. I think, especially for this team, their most important matches aren't against the teams that are above them, but the ones who are similar or below. To be honest, that's what I think are the most important matches. So
All right.
because of that, I think that for they could easily take a 4-2 record and lock that playoff spot up. I think pretty easily.
All right. So those are your opinions here for C4H. We'll go to the next team. Our sixth place team in the roster is Top Ramen. So Top Ramen from the Strix division. They did have a graduate who was also their coach, which is a very unusual situation. Top Ramen's coach, Mr. Crit, who is a fellow caster and friend of mine here, graduated, is not going to be eligible for stage 4. They also have a fairly sort of easy schedule here for them in sixth place. Look at the statistics, though. 73.7% complete percentage on escort. Their main problem has been King of the Hill. So King of the Hill only 42.1. In maps where King of the Hill was the fourth map, Top Ramen was basically doing a number on a lot of teams, going either 2-1 or 3-0 going into the King of the Hill map. So that was a problem for them. Their schedule is fairly easy. Are they a lock basically to sort of get in there and do their thing? Thick Daddy, you've played Top Ramen multiple times. What do you think as a team? Are they basically a shoe-in here for a playoff spot?
They are sitting in a really good place right now, and I think that they have a pretty favorable schedule because they can definitely beat pretty much any team they play this stage, actually. There's no one that's at the very top of the standings on their matchup list for this stage. So I think their fate here is definitely in their hands. They are a pretty solid team, obviously, because they made it this far and they're in sixth place. So they really have control of their own destiny here with a couple matches against some of the lower teams in the league, and I think that's very favorable for them. So I expect to see them in the playoffs.
All right, Leo, you've casted some of the matches, I think. What is your opinion overall on Top Ramen? Are they a shoe in here for a playoff spot?
Oh yeah, I have no doubt in my mind that Top Ramen is going to be able to be one of those top 8 teams. I've seen them since preseason, and they've always been one of the teams that have been impressing me the most. I'm actually seeing the statistics. I actually didn't know that they're really that good in escort. But yeah, Top Ramen has always been one of those consistent teams since stage 1, so they'll probably just like manage to just like be there on top 8.
All right, and now our final team in our contenders rundown is Furious Unicorns. I did this partially because Leo here is on the panel, but at the same time, you look at their schedule here, and that is a murderous back end schedule for the Furious Unicorns. They have to play Oasis, WSOL, Deadlock Gang, and Rinse and Shine. Though they are 3-0 against Rinse and Shine, so it seems like that they're not the biggest thing. I'm not going to let Leo talk. I'm going to let everybody else talk. So, Fat Mike, what do you what do you think of Furious Unicorns here? Do you think that they'll be able to sort of jump up in the standings and sort of go up against you guys? You play them in the 5th match, I think, here in the Snowy Division in the match. So do you think you can take one off of Furious Unicorns here and maybe put them into some playoff peril?
Well, I'm pretty sure they beat us last time, so
Oh, there you go.
I think they got a good chance for sure. I think Deadlock Gang and Weed Stomp on Land have a bit of a overhyped kind of lead right now. I don't think we're really that good, both those teams, but definitely beatable for Furious Unicorns. I'd give it to them for sure.
All right. And Carboy, just a general opinion. I don't know if you've actually played or sort of casted against Furious Unicorns, but what would you tell Leo here on the panel? Do you think that his playoff aspirations are not going to happen, or do you think they're pretty much a lock based on what you've seen here statistics wise against the other teams?
I think that they play well. They have everything together. From what I understand, they have good camaraderie. I think everything is there. There's just little connections that need to be made, and I think they can actually get a win against all of these all of these teams.
All right.
I do think they have that potential.
All right. And Leo, final thoughts on your own team. Would you like to mention anything about your playoff chances here? Are you going to make a run that will surprise everyone and take the title, maybe?
I mean, first off, guys, stop sugarcoating. I was waiting for a roast of the century. And second, yeah, honestly, I could easily see us winning a 5-1 stage, and then, or we can just go 2-4. Like, that's how bipolar I see the schedule going. Because, like, as you said, like, every team here is nothing to laugh at. And not only that, since we're going to be having so much roster changes, we're going to be replacing 4 players. And that's going to be kind of hard trying to get that team chemistry ready for stage 4, which is going to be going on in a week or so. So, hope I'm gonna be optimistic and say that we're probably going to make it to the playoffs, since we're just like over like 2 games above like the 8th seed, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried about that. It's just like I just hope we're ready for when the games count.
Yeah. So the problem with unicorns right now, and I'd like to mention it to everyone, is the fact that they have a +6 differential. Map differential at 12-6. Your team has a +6 map differential, which is worse than Top Ramen, C4H, and Rinse and Shine, who are down in 10th. So Rinse and Shine is +9 in 10th. Top Ramen and C4H both have a +13. That could come and bite you in the end. So you have to be careful.
Yep.
So winning is going to be super, super important here for the unicorns going forward, as they do not need to lose matches. And if they lose big, it can be very problematic with the fact that their map differential is going to
It's
be.
just
It's a scary thought.
Yeah, it's just so funny when I look like at 4, you have Deadlock Gang with a map differential 25, and then you go 5, and you see us with a map differential of 6. It's actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah, so like you'll look at the standings here again. We're going to flash them back up. Unicorns +6, and you're in 5th, but you do have the record. So as I said before, remember, winning is more important. If you can get the wins, map differential doesn't need to play into it. But right now, it's a precarious situation. So final thoughts from everyone here with regards to the upcoming stage 4, or maybe the past stage 3, or even shout outs to anybody out there in Twitch land. I'm going to give you guys like a little bit of free time to just sort of say what you want. I'll start with Commander Hui. Like, Commander Hui, any final thoughts here on the stage recap on stage 3, or possibly on the upcoming stage 4, that or maybe some shout outs there into Twitch land that you would want to comment on?
I'll just get my shout outs out the way. Shout out to Flame, because she's still with the team, even though she's a Diamond graduate. Also, Napalm and Delicious, some of the top players on MSXL as well. But I'm going to say this. I can't wait to cast some of these stage 4 games. I want I want to cast the good ones. Or I would love to cast I think it's Top Ramen and Click Foreheads, or Top Ramen and Los Muertos. That's like a big one in for the playoff implications. I'd love to cast that. I just want to cast some good playoff games, or like playoff atmosphere games. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, the reason for the rundown there was to just sort of bring some hype to some of the matches here coming up, because they are going to mean a lot. And the casters here are like Commander Hui, myself, Leo. We're going to be adding as much hype as we can to these like final stage matches. So it's going to be really, really big. Going to be really big going forward. So Isaac, Thick Daddy, any final thoughts here? Any shout outs there at the end that you want to sort of give out to Twitch land?
I have one shout out. I want to give it to Mithra. She's the best Zarya in Owlet, and that is it.
All right. Okay, Carboy. Any final thoughts here on the standings on stage 3, or maybe a shout out here to somebody out there listening to the cast?
I'll give 2 shout outs. Shout out one to Blue, because Blue is always fun guy to play with. Also the rest of my team, I love you guys, and Bri is absolutely wonderful coach. Also you, Hodohori, for putting so much effort into everything.
Oh, thank you.
Always listening to your cast. Everything's so wonderful to listen to. So.
Well, thank you, Carboy. I really appreciate that. And a shout out to Blue also, who I was trying to get to cast with me sometime in stage 4, but apparently real life issues has him sort of stranded and not able to cast late at night, unfortunately. So my shout out goes to him. Fat Mike. How about you? Anybody in the Deadlock gang you want to send some love out to out there? Maybe Coach Raza, who unfortunately was not, sort of was supposed to be on the show, was unable to sort of make it.
Yeah, definitely Terraza. Just want to say, get good.
Yeah,
And
seriously.
Deadlock gang, good luck. And also, I hope someone from Snowy wins, because Snowy is the best.
There you go. Shout out to the division right there. To Snowy Division for life for those in the Snowy. And then Leo, final thoughts here, my man, on the cast. Thank you so much for the statistics, by the way, and helping me out through the week. Any shout outs there, maybe to some of your Furious Unicorn brethren who've been listening in?
I mean, I just want to like take the moment and press F for Quig and Fred. Can we get some Fs in the chat, people? Thank you, very appreciated. But yeah, in regards to like last final thoughts, I'm just so hype Sage 4 because like this tournament has been just so wonderful, just like nice scheduling, not much and not much like in regards to like turmoil, like everything's been running very well. And the teams are really nice and we have a nice community, so I'm actually glad we're actually like there at almost at the finish line.
Yeah. All right, and that's probably going to do it to us. From a personal thought from me, there was a tragic event in Jacksonville today that I sort of want to acknowledge. As us being in the gaming community, the event in Jacksonville is disgusting with regards to what happened there and the people that it was affected there. I have friends that live in Jacksonville. Fortunately, they were not at the location, so they were not subjected to the nonsense at the street. Was it the NFL Madden tournament, esports tournament that they were having? Some crazy guy, if you do not know, lost in the tournament, came back with an assault rifle and decided to gun down the place. There's no room for that in esports at all. It is disgusting. It is horrible. And I know that the Owlet admins and the community would make sure that none of that crap ever happens. I mean, that's just uncalled for. But thoughts to the playful people out there. Gaming community should be fun. They should be energetic. There is trash talk among teams, but it is all in a friendly manner. And this is a community that is fun, friendly, and everybody knows each other. So hopefully stuff like that never happens again. So thoughts to the people out in Jacksonville and the general esports community in general. As we get to something a little bit more lively than that, it is your clips that you had submitted here for stage 3. Thank you so much for everybody joining us today. Thank you for everyone submitting the clips. Thank you for Direboyd for helping me with the highlight reels. Thank you for Leo for submitting all of the stats and the breakdowns. And thank you to the panel who came and joined us today. Commander Hui, Thick Daddy, Carboy, Fat Mike, Leo, Leoxicon, Leo, however you want to call him. Thanks for everyone. Yeah, just Leo. But thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a longer than expected cast. We've gone an hour and 45 minutes. But also thanks to everybody in the Owlet community. You guys have made it awesome. Stage 4 is going to be amazing. So stay tuned to this channel. Stay tuned to all of the casters channel, Commander Hui's channel, Leo's channel, my channel, Stittle out there, and anybody Tangent who's also casting now for us. Shout out to him. But thanks everybody for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed these best of clips that we're going to be featuring from stage 3.